Hello and welcome everybody to the 2015 draft of Blood Bowl 2 with your host as always, Mah-Dry-Bread. We're playing as the Bretonians and it's time to start drafting people from the live chat, almost called you a comment section, the live chat, to join in the roster. So we're playing as Bretonians, so before I pick the 11 people, we're going to be able to afford about 11 people. Let's go over the teams. So you can get linemen, blitzers, and blockers for the Bretonians. Linemen are dirt cheap, however, they are very not at all agile, which means that they suck at running the ball, catching the ball, throwing the ball, anything that has to do with Blood Bowl, other than fighting. They got a movement of 6, so they're pretty slow, a strength of 3, so they're average, and an armor value of 7, which is below average, so they're slow, not very good at handling the ball, average strength, and injury prone, but they're dirt cheap. Only 40,000 gold, which is very inexpensive. Good for filling out a team. Then we have blitzers. These are the star players of the Bretonians. Very expensive. At 110,000? Yeah, 110,000 gold. Movement is 7, so they're good speed. I think it's average for a blitzer. Yeah, it's about average. Strength of 3, so average. Agility 3, average. Armor value of 8, which is average. But where they really excel is that they start off with 3 great skills. Block makes it so they're much better in a fight, because there's an extra die roll that they'll be able to block. In fact, one extra die roll that would normally be a negative for them that they can completely negate. That helps them win fights. They have catch, so they have an extra dice roll whenever someone tries to pass them the ball to actually catch it. No one on their team has actual passing skills from default, so it's mostly used just for, like, a handoff. And they are dauntless, so if they fight someone with a higher strength than them, they can roll dice and potentially completely negate the strength loss. So they can stand up to even the biggest of enemy with a little bit of luck. And lastly, the blocker. Not particularly fast, regular armor value, agility, and strength, but they start with wrestle, which is whenever there's a double down rolled during a block attempt, which would be both people fall over, instead of either just them both getting hit and falling over, they wrestle them to the ground. So regardless of the skills of the attacker, they both drop to the ground. There is not a turnover unless the active player was carrying the ball, and the match continues. No one gets injured either. So that's actually a pretty useful one. I like block more than it in general. However, it's still a useful skill. In fact, it's mostly useful for taking out other people's blockers, because if someone else is a blocker, they'll have the block skill, and you can then, if you roll a double down, you can wrestle them to the ground and negate their block skill, which is useful. So, I think it's time. Let's tab out, and we've got 16 people in the raffle right now to join in. It's time to stop and pick winners. So I gotta pick 11 winners. Go 1, what did it go? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 3, it takes a second, 4, 5, 6, I don't know why it takes so long, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, okay, I'm doing them in order, alright. Bring that onto the other monitor. It's time to start buying people. First, we buy blitzers. I want 4 blitzers, 4 blockers, 3 linemen. I'll barely be able to afford it, but we can do it. So let's what's our first blitzer is Baron Bubba 13, who just followed today. I think this might be Baron Bubba's first stream here. First stream, and you may end up being the star player of the flock. So we got 1. Next blitzer is Hannah. I'm assuming that's pronounced Hannah. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. And next, we have Leo with a plan by And our last blitzer... Head that. Trying to get as many heads that aren't used so we can tell them apart a little bit better. Last one is Lortius. So you four have the distinction of being the team's 4 blitzers, which are the most important roles on a Bretonnian team. Now it's time for the second most important, although very important still, the blockers. These guys are what opens up the line so that the blitzers can run the ball. Zero Milos. Zero Milos. And then we have Jim the Knight. Our third blocker. I think we've gone through all the heads. Is eating all the mushrooms. I'm surprised that fit. And our last blocker is Hernandez. Did I spell that right? Oh, my eyes are bad. Hernandez Punch Stick, the classic. And lastly, we fill it out with the 3 linemen that our team needs. Not Moldy Tom. It will be Jericho, 323. Black Light, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. And lastly, for the lineman, that's a wonky looking guy. Look at that haircut. We have Axel, 1, 4, 5, 6. And Axel, I got your message this morning. I'll be able to respond later. All right, we have our full team. Let's confirm purchases. Let's go to staff. Oh, wow, that Baron's head didn't load for a second. That was weird. We can afford 2 rerolls. We don't have enough for an apothecary yet, which is scary. We could have a death in our first game. But there's our beautiful team. Let me just tab out and fix things up on the other monitor real quick, because I had to move things around a lot for that. We can get rid of that from the chat so you guys can see the chat a little bit better. Bring that, and that, and that. All right, everybody. That's our team filled out. This is our initial team. As we get more money, we're going to be getting more people from the chat in. And as people die, we'll also be getting more people in. You can see the guys with the ornate helmets in their arms. Those are our blitzers, the star players. Then the people that are still well armored, but without the big crazy helmets, are the blockers, and then the really poor peasantry-looking guys that have what look to be wooden shoulder pads. Those are the linemen. So, that's it for the team-building segment then. On the next video you'll see on YouTube, we're going to be starting with our first match. Until next time, have a nice day.